Welcome to part 3 of our 3-part Lunch and Learn series. I am Katie Conklin, VP of Programs with Erika's Lighthouse. Brandon, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, and I am Brandon Combs. I'm the Executive Director.
And we are going to discuss the data center with you today. So we're going to just review last week's part 2, just a couple slides to recap program surveys and school culture surveys, and then we'll really kind of dive into what is the data center, how the data center can benefit your school, and how you will access results. So as a reminder, we will have new program evaluations for all of our pillars next school year. So there will be a pre-test and a post-test for each program. There will be a pre and post-test for all 3 classroom education programs like there currently is. And then there will also be a pre-test and a post-test for empowerment clubs, family engagement, and school policy and staff training. And then in addition, we will have a brand new school culture survey. So this is really to bookend the school year. So we would love for schools to start with the school culture survey in the beginning of the year, really sending that out to students, families, and staff to really see how safe, supported, and accepted students, staff, and families all feel. And then you can follow that up at the end of the year with a post survey to really kind of see how everything you're doing is really coming together. So all of these things, all of these evaluations are going to live within the data center. So now we get to understand the data center. So Erika's Lighthouse Data Center is a comprehensive data evaluation and collection system for schools. Any school can use it, no matter where you're located. The goal is for schools to make informed decisions around student needs and really thinking about which programs are effective. And then we at Erika's Lighthouse will help provide guidance on how to analyze the data and really think about what is this data showing us? And then again, how do we make informed decisions for what is best supporting student well-being? So the data is going to come from 3 different things. There's a school mental health assessment. There's that school culture survey that we just talked about, and then those program evaluations. So depending on which programs you're using and which programs you're evaluating, that will get filtered into the data system, and then you'll be able to get those results. We are providing, like everything else that we do, we are providing all of this data for free. So all student and staff and family information will be anonymous. We will not be able to identify any personal information, and you will be able to see the results in real time. There's a little bit of a delay, but in general, it's in real time. And so you'll be able to access this information through the resource portal. Anyone who has a resource portal account will be given a specific ID that is linked to your school. And then when you go in, you're able to then put in that ID and you're able to see which type of program evaluation you're looking for, right? So that data you can filter through. Maybe you just administered the school culture survey, you'd like to see the results, you'll be able to do that. If you had a health educator who just finished the level 3 program, they can be able to see their pre and post results on that as well. So it's pretty neat. So this is kind of the foundation of everything, right? Like when you look at that school culture survey, it's the foundation. It's really being able to really get informed decisions from all the stakeholders in your school community. So again, those students, families, and staff. And then that second tier is really the strategy assessment. So we're going to you have an opportunity to really kind of take an assessment, review all of those best practices around tier 1 mental health implementation, and provide feedback based on that assessment. So maybe you're really strong in classroom education, but when you do this assessment, it comes out that maybe some of your student voice piece could use some enhancement. And this assessment will actually provide feedback to you around what are some ideas for how to enhance that area. So then based on all of that, then you get to kind of move to that top tier of the pyramid and really make programmatic decisions. So our assessment shows us that we are in need of this. How do we make programming that's really going to meet that need? So when you put it all together, then it all filters into the data system. And so who doesn't love a QR code? So we are here to, how do you do it? There's going to be a QR code. There's going to be URL that will link you to the data center. Like everything else we do, it's going to be super easy and super flexible. So this is an opportunity for schools, right? This is an opportunity. It's no cost. It's easy to use. There's not going to be any kind of information that's going to be identifiable to a student or a family member or a staff member. So they can really provide feedback in a confidential way that allows it to be really authentic. It's readily available. And then it really also provides you with an opportunity to really look at consistent and comparable data year over year. So you're really able to take an opportunity to see, like, how are our programs really impacting our school community? What can we do better? What are we doing really well? What's working? And then year after year, you're able to either tweak those things or to continue to say, like, we're really doing best practice in our building. And we see the impact of our work. So it's really an opportunity to make informed programmatic decisions that really are supporting student well-being. And so that's what we want to help you with. We want to help schools be able to take all of this information to really make sure that what they're doing is really impacting student well-being.
Thank you, Katie. So one of the things and points that we really want to make that I think is particularly exciting when we are talking about the data center is this idea of consistent data points throughout the year. So any of these lines that you're seeing, like encourage help seeking, reduce stigma, normalize conversations, that are starred and have an Lighthouse all the way across, are really saying they're comparable, and meaning they're almost the exact same question. So when you're doing a culture survey and bookending the front end of the year, and then you have that opportunity throughout that year to do an update on that data. So if you have that bookend of culture survey, and then you're doing 9th graders within kind of implementation of the level 3 program, say, you'll be able to kind of see where are they at? Where do they compare to that early year school culture survey? And then finally, you'll be able to do that same comparison at the end of the year with the school culture survey. And you can make those same marks within kind of any use of the Erika's Lighthouse programs that have a specific evaluation tool built in. And I think that's a really key piece, that when we are talking about kind of taking a look at that data and making it really meaningful, that consistency throughout that entire school year is going to be really key for counselors, social workers, administrators, to be really making those informed decisions on what is working, what's not working, and kind of what is helping move that needle throughout the year as you track your progress and success. So just a couple key areas here. We're going to be talking about increasing knowledge, encouraging help seeking, reducing stigma, normalizing conversations, promoting good mental health, improving connectedness, and inclusive culture. And then those school culture surveys are going to be really focused on school safety, school support. And then, of course, within our classroom education, we're also talking about potential peer intervention and program value. So you'll be able to kind of get that direct feedback as well from students, like, is the program worth it? Is it kind of making a difference within that school building according to the students or the individuals being impacted? So when we were talking about kind of the survey, Katie, do you want to take this slide? Sorry.
Sure. So one of the things that we want schools to do is to really make informed decisions about programs, right? So this is, how do you get results? So this is kind of the idea of how these results will come to you, right? So there's going to be a school drop down. It will say your school year that you're looking for. It will have your state, your school ID, that again is going to be a private ID just for you. And then the district ID, which is currently in beta. So that's the hope. But really, the reporting is going to be easy to read into and interpret. So it's really going to be able to say, okay, this is your pre-test. This is your post-test. This is how many students identified as being able to identify a trusted adult. This is how many students feel like they could say after the program. This is how many say that they would feel comfortable talking to a trusted adult at school, at home, in the community, etc. It will give you the total number of surveys completed, and it's going to graph the individual questions. So those questions that Brandon just referred to on the slide before, those will be in each of the data reporting. So you'll really be able to see how impactful was the program. So it's really an opportunity, again, to kind of drive programmatic decisions when we look at this data. And you can see it's pretty too. So we can look at, let me just share another screen. This is what, if you go into the looker right now, this is where you have an opportunity to kind of see there's a school ID section, there's what program, there's a date range that you can select. There's a program type. So let's just say we only want to look at level 2. And then it's going to take a minute to filter through. It's thinking, and it's going to give us our results. And we're really going to be able to, again, reminder in real time, see what kind of program results that you were able to have. It's taking a long time. But then you're able to really see and, again, make those really informed decisions about what is working, what isn't working. Brandon, do you want to add anything?
No, I don't. I think that's great. I think one of the things that we want this to be useful for all of you that are kind of moving forward within this as well. So at any point in time, do not hesitate to contact us if you have questions, if you have concerns. If once you start receiving data, really start taking a look at kind of what does that mean and let us know if you have questions. The one thing, of course, the larger your data set, the more meaningful it is going to be. So as you start kind of moving forward and you're looking at your results, if you're only doing a pre-post evaluation and it's going to be, 25 students, that data is not going to be as meaningful as if you were implementing the educational program and using the surveys with more than 100 students, for instance. And the same with the school culture survey. The more kind of you put in, the more data and information that you're going to get back out. So just some things for you to think about as well when you're kind of planning out what that implementation looks like.
And just piggybacking on that, we would really advise, if you're using the school culture survey, to really thinking about getting that information in front of your stakeholders in August, that first week of school, so that you have an opportunity to say, this is the deadline for the survey. We're going to, launch it. It's going to go live on the 1st, and the deadline is the 10th. So an opportunity to really make sure that people have a time to do it, but then enough advance notice. This is all of our contact information. We are here to support you, whether you have a question about evaluations or school culture surveys or the data center or programming. We are happy to help. Please feel free to reach out anytime, and we'll stick around for some questions. Thank you.